Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Hello, really quick. We're with Aleatha. You know who she is. That we'll introduce her in a second, but we're just asking her how many siblings she has.
How many siblings do I have? I have my big brother Nigel, my little brother Eli, and my little sister Eva. So there are four of us. But then I also have a bunch of step brothers and sisters, and then like it stretches out. So the people
And
that
the
I grew up with anyway are four of us.
and the bottom, the younger two are much younger than you, right?
Yeah, they're like a whole other generation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that
it's
like
kind of fun.
15
They're my
years, or are
sister
we talking? How much of a gap are we talking?
Eli's 18, right?
Eli just turned 17 this week.
17. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Eva is 17 years younger than me, 18 years younger than me. And Eli is 20 years younger than me.
Ooh.
It's a lot. It's a big gap. For a
Yeah,
while, people thought they were my kids.
yeah.
My mom wasn't pleased with that.
I have a friend whose mom, her brother is that age difference, and they would go into the grocery store, and everybody thought that he was her kid. But also, they're the same age as her kids. Like her brother is almost the same age as her oldest, and so they would go together, and they'd be like, "Oh, are these your kids?" And she's like, "Well, one of them is."
Hmm.
Like,
It's confusing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know I went into a change room one time and like my mom was trying something on and I had my sister when she was like 2 on my hip and the change room lady helper person was like, "Oh, this is your daughter. She's so pretty. She looks just like you," which is hilarious because we're a big genetic gap too, so we don't look alike at all. But I was like, "No, no, she's not my daughter. She's my sister." And this woman had no idea what to do with that whatsoever. And she was just like, "Oh," and just walked
Oh,
off.
sorry. Have a good day.
bye.
It's funny
Okay,
though.
now we can
And Becca and I are in the same room together, so
yeah.
she came and visited me. There's a little surprise for Rachel at the tiki party, so that was fun.
I saw that on Instagram. That is so cool to just show up. I love
Hmm.
it.
Well, what's even funnier is that like um so Erica uh knew that she was going to be drinking, so she wanted to get an Uber, and Ryan was like, "Well, Erica wants to get an Uber." And so I texted Erica and was like, "Hey, you want to hang out before the party and then I could just Uber you in?" And so we hung out before and then I Uber in, dropped her off. There was like no parking, so I had to park like 2 blocks away. And she like I'm sure she came down and was like,
Yeah, she was.
"Just off."
Yeah, she did.
Because I was like, Erica, you don't have to say your Uber just dropped you off. Like everybody knows your Uber just dropped you off.
Or she just shows up and nobody knows
And
whether she
nobody
drove
cares.
or has an Uber.
And
Well
and then
undercover.
yeah, and then I like walked in and I came up right next to Rachel and I was like uncomfortably close. And she was outside and she was talking to like people that we didn't know. They were customers of his. And I was just like so close to her face. And then she turned around, she was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was
Is it
great.
like the
Everybody
first time?
inside was like, "Oh, they don't. Rachel doesn't know she's coming." So everybody was like quiet and like watching
Yeah,
through the windows.
it was fun.
That's hilarious. Seeing
Yeah.
you out of context, did it take her a second to click who you were?
She said that she was like, "I saw
She
your
saw in her
shadow," and she was
periphery
like,
that was like that seems like a Becca,
periphery,
but
but
she was
like
like that wouldn't be.
but she said she wasn't coming because I messaged her earlier and was like, "Oh man, I'm so bummed I can't come tonight. I hope you have so much fun." And then she's like, "That's okay, come next year." And I was like, "I definitely will."
Yeah.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, so anyway, would you like to hello everybody. Would you like to tell everybody who you are if they don't know?
Sure. Hi, I'm Aleatha. I make pottery in my basement. I forget what else I'm supposed to say.
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm from Brockville, Ontario, in the Thousand Islands in Canada land.
Wait, you live on an island?
No, I live close to a cluster of islands.
Oh, okay. Is there a
Yeah.
thousand of them?
I don't think there's actually 1,000 of them, but there's an awful lot of them. I don't know
Interesting.
exactly how many there are, but okay, so cool geography thing. In the last ice age, when the glacier went scraping down the northern hemisphere, it scraped all the topsoil off of the this area of the world and dumped it into your area of the world. That's why you have nice planting there. Um, but
Huh.
because it scraped all the dirt off, we have all sorts of rocky land and islands. So I'm right on the shore of the thousand or of the St. Lawrence River, and in the area of the Thousand Islands has all these really rocky, just juts of rocks that stick out of the water.
Is your is where you live right where the War of 1812 was fought?
You got it. Yeah, they
Hell
walked
yeah.
across the river,
Knew
and
it.
then we walked back and won. So take that.
Okay. Did you always live there?
Oh well, kind of. I was born in Quebec, but I moved here when I was like 2, so I don't remember living anywhere else.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
Okay.
So
And
I would say I'm a Brockvillian. That's I've been here long enough. That
yeah.
makes sense.
And Aletha is has a Mr. Aletha who is her partner in crime of doing pots and life. And because we like to we want to make sure that we include Mr. Andrew and yeah.
Absolutely. He says that he's a background character, and I don't think he is at all. He does so much for Aleatha being the business, and he kind of downplays how much he does. But lately, he's been doing all of the markets by himself, and he does all of the post office runs, all of the going and gettings of things and lifting of the things. Yeah, he's a pretty integral part of the pottery business here.
He a pretty good salesperson for you at the markets?
I haven't seen him in action, so I'm not really sure. I know the numbers say that he's a decent salesperson,
Well, that's
Nice.
but
good.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's he comes home with the same as I come home with. Usually, when we go together, it's a good day, and it seems
Yeah.
to be as good a day when he goes by himself. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. I would very much like to sneak up on him like you did with Rachel and just watch him and see how he goes. But that would be very creepy, so I'm not going to do that.
I think you should. But don't you only have one car?
Yeah, we only have well, we have another car, but it's out of commission right now.
Yeah.
There's a den of bunnies that are living underneath it, so it's just been parked on here.
Oh,
That's
don't want
that.
to disturb the bunnies.
I want to disturb the bunnies.
God damn it, the
I don't really
bunnies.
need one car because I haven't been going out much. So I can work from home and not leave, so he can use the car, and the other one can stay a nice, very large roof for the bunnies.
Did
Right.
you ever watch VeggieTales when you were a kid?
No, did not.
Did you?
I did at
Do you
Bible camp.
yes. Do you remember the bunny song from the Rad uh Meshach and Abednego one? The bunny. Ooh, I love the bunny. I don't love my mom or my dad, just the bunny.
I
I
don't know
gotta
that
admit,
song.
I don't remember it, but I love it.
It's from the Idol one where they like start it's the Rad is it Rad Meshach and Abednego where they like worship the idol or some shit like that um and they refuse to like bow down to the idol so they are sentenced to death and they put them in like a huge furnace and um like God puts a like a I don't know some sort of a like wrap around them so they can't burn to death. And then they look in the like in the kiln and they're like, this is very applicable to pottery. They look into the kiln and then they are like, oh my God, they're not dying. And then they come out and they're like, worship our God instead. And
This sounds pretty
It's
crazy
pretty
for
intense.
Veggie Tales.
well, that's a Bible story.
Is
The
Veggie Tales
Bible
Bible
is a
related?
lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Veggie Tales is straight up biblical.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember most of the episodes. I remember ad-libbing things, all the like funky songs of the time and ad-libbing them that because we weren't allowed to sing the actual songs at Bible camp because they're from hell. So it was
It,
fun though.
it was definitely like, listen, VeggieTales, I am not into that stuff anymore, but if you put VeggieTales in front of me, I'd watch it.
Same, same.
They're
It's catchy.
catchy. It's catchy, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Catchy.
absolutely.
Yeah, I did not watch that. Maybe like Blue's Clues or something that back that far before like going to Nickelodeon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's looking something up.
I'm looking up the name.
The VeggieTales name?
It's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
How are how is anybody supposed to remember all that?
I don't know.
Those are some names.
I'm amazed that you found it that quickly though.
Well, I knew the Meshach and Abednego because it's like it kind of like rolls off the tongue, you know? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I also had what I also went to a Christian elementary school, middle school, and high school. So,
It is
yeah.
ingrained right into you. These stories
Yeah,
are right in your brain.
I
exactly.
did too, but it must have missed me.
Well, you know what? When there's picture books involved, I'm all in.
Mhm.
Hmm.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
I was
was
into
just
like
like a
math and then like
part-time.
there's unfortunate events at that time probably.
nice. What were you, Aletha?
I was just a part-time church kid. I only went every once in a while, so I didn't learn about it all the same way. Kind of
Oh,
show
that
up and everyone's all fire and brimstone, and I'm like, oh, I just want to go canoeing.
I'm just here to eat some s'mores.
Oh, we have to pray first. Oh, well, my grace. I'm grateful for it. I do think that there is something about the community involved in church that I think is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I'm not knocking it. But I don't think I would tell 5-year-olds about burning in kilns.
Yeah, it does really ingrain stuff into your brain, that's for sure.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Not
Sure
knocking it,
does.
but
So we last had you on May of 2022. It looks like
wasn't that long.
you dropped the headset. I don't see the headset anymore.
Ryan, I am such a Luddite. I have been messing with that headset for a week. I cannot get it to work. So
Were you trying to bring it back?
I was trying to. I mean, I will wear it, but
It's not functional, just a prop.
I have to admit
yeah,
that apart from Sarah Anderson, you are the most technically inadvanced person I've ever met. That's like of our
thanks.
age, of our age. Like Sarah Anderson's right up there with you, but I think she could figure out a headset, so I think that's about it. My favorite thing the
Well,
last week
good
that
for
Aletha was
Sarah.
doing was she was sanding, and instead of having like headphones um that are like noise canceling headphones, Aletha has the big honkin' headphones that are the ones that like chainsaw people
Oh,
use.
yeah, yeah.
And
When you're like cutting the grass and you got
yeah,
the that
yeah.
you can like listen to the radio on or something.
No, you can't listen to the radio. It's just nothing. It's just
There's no
Oh,
electric anything happening.
oh, those
It's just like
headphones. I gotcha.
softball size things.
Is
Okay.
it
I
is
love
it
them.
like would you ever use something like that or like like headphones like where you can listen to music or is it just like you're just like whatever, I don't need it.
I don't really need it, but if I were to use headphones, it would be that size. I don't want anything to actually touch my ears. So I
Mm,
want
Yeah.
them to like come
yeah,
entirely over encompassing my whole side of
yeah.
my head. Yeah, Princess Leia style.
Okay. When you said headphones, I thought you were talking to her on the phone, and I was like, how was she talking to you with that?
I'm not that good at tech, Ryan. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't
Andrew
even know where
must
those
be good
headphones
at
came
tech.
from. Um, I think he was at one point in time. I think the problem is that we are both just not participating in it for like a decade, and it went, and we didn't.
And you didn't. But you have a cell phone.
I do have a smartphone, touch screen, and everything.
It's got
Cellular
like
device.
Bluetooth and shit like that. Hell
Yeah, it
yeah.
does. Hell yeah. like this century and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
aware that we are 24 years into this century, but whatever.
Nice. Nice, nice. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. No,
So
I'm
what
not great at the
I'm trying to
tech.
think of what's been different since 2022. What's new these days that folks may be catching up on? Yeah, how would you, I don't know. Where do we start?
Where do we start? Where would you like to start?
Uh, I don't really know. We just sort of
Okay,
rambled for 3 hours last time, so
we did.
There,
We talked a lot about cake last
why
time.
don't you talk about this one?
Um,
You were gonna ask about
oh, we have
that.
questions?
We never talked about so I don't know that I didn't know this for the longest time. You apparently have an Amazon wheel, like you purchased off Amazon.
oh yeah.
It's like
I do.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's the
Vivo
it's a
one,
little
right?
teeny tiny one.
have have you
The
been
first
using
one I
that
got was
since
the
the
Viva
beginning?
one, and then it died, and so I got another one. The Tooth Fairy brought it to me, and
Mm.
I don't even know what brand it is, but it might even be Amazon brand. But it's little, it's very small. It has a splash pan that does not come off at all. It's just all attached. It has a little lever instead of a foot thing. You can buy one that has a foot thing, but it's so small that you'd have to like put your knee up in your ear to use the foot thing. So I just use the lever.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's smaller than standard. Like the wheel plate itself, I don't know how big a standard one is, 12 inches, but the wheel plate itself on this one is only 9 inches, which
Nine
is
inches.
why I don't make giant things.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you drilled the holes for your bat pins, right?
I did. It took me like a year to do that because I was terrified that I was going to break something. But then um, I just stuck a drill through it and I was like, well,
Well,
that was pretty low tech. I can handle that.
Yeah.
yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
plus you're like, I can't get this off center because then you're kind of. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter
No,
that
you
much.
can get it off center.
It would just look a little bit. It would
Off.
spin a little weird with the bat on there if it wasn't centered.
It's, well, as long as the piece itself is centered, it's okay. So the bat itself is all wiggling all over the place, but the middle of the bat is still centered. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
okay.
Yeah.
I make my own bats out of, what is it called?
Masonite.
That's it, masonite. So I cut them out of a sheet of masonite and I drill the holes myself to match the bat pins because they're smaller than standard as well. And then I can just slap them on there. So they all look really crooked. If you're watching me throw and you see my bats flopping all over the place, the middle of the bat is centered. So that's fine. That's all that
I
matters. It's good.
I understand that so completely because my bat system for the longest time and currently is not actually centered. So like if you take the bat out and try to put it back in, you have to try 4 times because
to make
Yeah.
to make sure it's on like the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I take it off my bat pins and I accidentally put it opposite, like the other bats pins together, then yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna be all crooked. But
Yeah. So,
yeah.
okay, so the question I think I have is not necessarily would you recommend this wheel, but obviously you've built an entire business on 2 of these wheels, and 2 of these wheels is less than $400. So,
Mhm.
like,
For a starter, absolutely. If you're somebody who isn't gonna like go ham and open a studio and have 15 people working for you, if you're just gonna do it yourself, yeah, for sure. Spend $200, see if you like it. And if you want to upgrade later, go for it. But
Yeah.
don't, I don't know how people have enough money to be dropping $20,000 on a hobby before they even do anything with it. Good for them.
yeah.
So if you
Mhm.
can spend a couple $100 instead, I love that idea.
Yeah,
I got
because
my kiln secondhand too. So like when I started up, I was still working full time and I didn't want to be spending a ton of money. So that's the route I
right.
went and I love it. Worked for me.
Yeah, you kind of just figure out how to adapt with what you got, and
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think it helps too that I'm not very tall. I think if I was
Yeah.
somebody who was like 6 foot tall, I'd have to do a lot of adapting to make it work. But I like in stature, I'm short, my hands are small, and I am comfortable like physically on it. I do have it built up where I've got a little platform that it sits on and I've built a table around it to hold it in place because it's very lightweight. So if you're trying to center and you like push on your clay instead of surround your clay, I don't know how to say that without it being
If you
weird
pushed
with
forward or backward, like if you pushed or pulled on the clay instead of pushed laterally sideways into your clay, it would move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's
you'd have to
okay.
like
I
have
don't
it
teach
up
a
against the
lot.
wall or something so it wouldn't move as much, or like you did, build a
Exactly.
shell around it.
Well, you could even like if you didn't know very much about woodworking or something like that, you could even drill something to the floor, like drill a laundry basket to the floor, plop it in a laundry basket, and you'd probably be good to go. Like you could figure something out even if you're not that handy. But
Hmm. Yeah, it's very lightweight. You can carry it around. I wouldn't put it in your backpack or anything, but it's definitely small, it's portable, and it does the job. And if
right,
you bust it, like I busted my first one because I had like 5 or 6 things all plugged into the same outlet. So that was my fault.
Oh.
And then I didn't feel incredibly heartbroken replacing it because it wasn't a $2,000 wheel.
Mhm.
right. It was
Yeah,
$150.
American dollars. It was a little more than 200 when it was Canadian dollars,
Oh,
but
that's true.
Would you
Canadian.
upgrade if this one kicks the bucket?
um well, I've already got a table set up and my platform and like everything's set up for this and all my bats are set up for this, so I'd probably get another $200 wheel.
Yeah,
There
Yeah.
you go. You just need to
I
drill the
have
holes
one
in
that
the.
yeah, now that I know how to do it, just drill some holes in and then I'm good to go.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
I
love
am
that.
also very cheap though, so that keep that in mind when we're talking about recommendations for other people, that I am incredibly frugal.
Well, I think that that's, but I think that that needs to happen more because a lot of people, you know, I would say the number one, not complaint, but excuse that I get for not doing pottery is that they can't afford it. Uh, you can't afford to get a $1,200 wheel. You can't afford it, and like maybe you can't like find one. Like you're maybe in an area where Craigslist is not popping as far as the pottery wheels are concerned.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you maybe don't have the fixing power that a lot of people do. And to be able to be told, hey, by the way, there is a $200 wheel out there that isn't that bad. I mean, can work.
It can get you
Yeah, it
going.
can get you from point A to point B, you
Yeah,
know? I think that's important because a lot of people are like, no, I can't do that. I can't invest. Like the wheel's the first thing they want to get?
yeah,
Right.
So, yeah, I
it's
don't know
doable.
if
It's
you'll,
entirely doable.
yeah, and it's like a kiln is an extremely huge investment, and usually a size investment that you cannot do unless you get the like the plug and fire, like what we've been promoting.
Talking about, yeah.
Which one are you talking about? The L&L baby kiln? Is that the one you're talking
The Eleanor baby kiln that can be put in your apartment.
about?
We're
Yeah.
firing
Honestly,
it
I think
right now.
that's the coolest thing. You can plug it into just like a normal outlet. That is the coolest thing. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
If you need to fire that though, is it big enough for pottery or is it only really big enough for jewelry?
I just put some stuff. I'm firing it right now. I've got 3 shelves. I got 2 spoon rests, 4 what are they? Sponge
Sponge
holders,
holders.
4 more spoon rests on the top shelf,
And a
and then
very teeny
a
tiny mug
tiny mug.
that I made that is smaller than a piece of a battery.
So it'll
Like
take like 2 firings and you've got a dinnerware set. This sounds incredible.
you've got a dinnerware set for a mouse. There or maybe a cat, I guess. Um,
It's 8 by 8 by 9 on the inside, so it's you'd be a little limited on the plate situation, but
yeah,
you can make it work.
you for sure can make it work.
I got crafty with that top shelf of those spoon rests. I had 2 on the shelf, and then I had 2 pieces of kiln stilts or posts like propped up so that I sat 2 more. They're like hovering over top of the other ones, and they're staggered. So it's yeah, it's
I will
quite the.
never cease to be amazed with your count stacking
Yeah, I
abilities,
was
Ryan.
like,
Like,
hey, I'm testing this. I'm just gonna push it. This is my first firing, but we'll just see what happens.
I'm impressed. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
I love that. I
we'll find
kind of
out.
want to get a baby kiln for myself just for little things.
Yeah.
And thank you, Aletha, for doing our job for us. Anyway, if you have any questions about that plug and fire kiln that we were just talking about, you can look them up at hotkilns.com. Yeah, it's the best. That's it. I just put 5 shelves in it yesterday. I was pretty stoked. Okay. Okay, bye. Anyway, back to accessibility.
The cost of stuff, yeah.
The cost
Yeah,
of
you
stuff,
could
like,
I think it's like a level up thing. Like if you need something affordable to get you to the next level so you can if you realize like, oh, it's limiting, I need to make bigger things or I want to make bigger things, but like, hey, this gets you to a point where you can make the things you need to make.
and you've made a whole
Yeah,
entire business off of this fucker.
I have. Yeah. Which blows my mind a little bit sometimes because people will look at it like oh, it's just a kid's thing. But I don't know. It seems to work for me. It's okay. It
Yep.
doesn't have the same like torque. So if you're trying to really lean on it, it's going to slow down. And it doesn't have the same control for speed, and it's not as nice. I'm not gonna lie to you here. It's not as nice,
Right,
but it works. It works just fine. And now if I use a different one, then I feel like they're too powerful and they're weird. So it's all what you get used to too.
for sure.
And it depends on like if you started on a fancy wheel at school or something and then you went to one of these, it's like, do you notice the difference or is it just like, is
So
it worth it or not? You know?
it's faster than a kick wheel.
Yeah, it is. So I did start in classes. I had a class with Krista Cameron, and she was fantastic. And she had all these beautiful Shimpos and Brents. And I fell for I don't know, I don't even know which one it was, but it was one of the big, powerful ones. And when I had a summer break from her classes, she had the audacity to take the summer off. How could she? So I went insane and I bought a wheel and a kiln and everything that I needed, but I bought it all cheap because who's got that kind of money to drop on a hobby?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's why I got the Amazon wheel because I figured I didn't have a place to put it. At that point in time, half my house wasn't turned into a pottery studio.
Yeah.
I had it tucked into the corner in my spare bedroom, this bedroom actually, which is no longer a bedroom because it's been taken over with pottery stuff. But yeah, I just didn't have enough space for it to be a huge operation at that point in time.
Yeah, I think my first kiln was pretty crappy and it was free. So
was your first kiln the teacher kiln? That was my first kiln.
no, my first kiln that was like 3 years into me having a kiln already. Or
Was
two kilns. I got like a Scud 1970s 181, I think is what it was.
was it 3 cubic feet?
Yeah, I think so.
How big?
It also had a blank ring in it, so when you bisque fire, you could put the blank ring, which is an extra like 6 inches. But you could only get it to that bisque temperature. You can't use it for glaze firing. You'd have to take the ring out and make it smaller.
How big is your
I don't
kiln
know what
right
this
now?
around a 5 cubic feet, something
Okay,
like
that's
that.
not bad.
Yeah, yeah, I can fit probably like 3 rows of mugs in there and a row of spoon rests, or um, yeah, there's usually 3 or 4 rows of stuff in there going on.
Yeah, I think that's a good size to start with, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It broke this year. Well, right before Christmas, of course, the worst time it could
Oh,
break. And I did look around quite a bit thinking that maybe I would get a different kiln. And everybody in my life, everyone is so supportive. I just have the best family and everybody because they were all like, Letha, if you're gonna get another kiln, you better get a better kiln. Get a bigger, better, amazing honking thing. And I
I
kept saying like,
remember this.
yeah.
oh yeah, because I talked to you about it so much. I'm sorry I bugged you so much.
No, I love it. I love when you bug me.
Well, thank you.
Well, you don't really bug me, but you know.
Yeah. It's one of those things you kind of always have to be on the lookout if you're thinking about, hey, if this did die tomorrow, like am
Yeah.
I, am I ready to get another one? What am I interested in? What space do I need? What
Yeah.
electrical do I have? You know.
So those were all limitations for me because it's an old house and the stairway is smaller than standard than modern houses. So I wouldn't be able to fit a bigger kiln in unless I took it apart, which I know that some kilns come apart, but that's a thing. But the electrical the electrical panel is also small. I'm pretty much at the limit. So I talked to my electrician and they were saying you could fit it on there, but then like don't plug a toaster in because that's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Um, so
Sometimes, oh, go on.
that's it. I just wanted to have the same kiln. That's all. So I fixed the same one that I had instead of buying a new one.
Well, and sometimes it makes sense to have two of the same size of kiln instead of one slightly bigger kiln, you know? You can always plug and unplug.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, technically my big kilns are on the same
Yeah.
wire. They're on the same breaker. I just never fire them both at the same time.
Hmm.
You can have one cooling down and be on, and one going up and be on, but not fire them
Sequentially.
not sequentially. Sequentially is one after the other,
Oh,
but
in
in
sequence.
tandem, yeah.
No, in tandem.
I don't know. At the same time.
Simultaneously.
Simultaneously. There we
Simultaneously.
go.
Yeah, and oh, not only did I used to unplug, then replug back in, which it can be a lot for your kiln, but I will tell you that it is nice because you always know when your plugs are about to shit out. Um, but I would also take my thermocouple and move it from one kiln to the next because
Wow.
plugged into a it was plugged into like a separate
Controller.
electrical box, like electric controller, because they were both manual kilns, and I would just like move from one to the other.
That's
That's a
sweet.
lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, but
A
all
lot
it
of
is taking
doing.
the thermocouple out and putting it in the other like
It
holes
wasn't
in the
bad. Yeah.
outside, right?
It just, the thermocouple was just never screwed into the kiln. It was just like sitting there. And then you'd take it out.
Okay.
Move it. Oh, wait,
She
no, wait. Was
she
I
she
Okay.
moving?
wasn't really disconnecting wires and stuff. She was just
Yeah.
pulling it out of one and putting it into the other.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like you were opening the panel up and doing the
No.
wiring every time. Okay.
Nope.
That
No,
would be
I
a
just
lot.
had a hole drilled on the side. So actually, in pretty much every single kiln, I don't know about electric kilns, but in every single um kiln sitter kiln, there's a hole in the metal, usually on the back side, probably like halfway down, that is for you to drill out a hole for your thermocouple.
Hmm.
So,
So
There was
you're
one of those inside the control panel. So when I had it refurbished, they put in a thermocouple instead of it being a sitter.
they
See,
did.
I am tech savvy. I have an
um
electric kiln with a button on it now.
So
no,
proud
There
of
we
you.
go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
that's great.
As the local kiln tech, you have to be a little bit tech savvy.
Well, I know about them. I just didn't have one. That's all.
You're a local kiln tech?
No, not really, but yes.
It's been interesting. So
Not
when
on
things
paper,
were
you're just
breaking
a
down with
consultant.
my kiln, I kept asking other people, like, do you know anybody that could fix it? Because I know how to like change elements and do maintenance and that kind of stuff, because I feel like everybody who does pottery should know at least a little bit about that. But I needed somebody who knew more than me. And I kept getting people who were like, oh yeah, my husband, he can do that. And it's just like, I'm very glad that you're impressed that your husband knows how to screwdriver, but I need more than that. Sorry. So I even had one lady who was like, "Oh, there used to be this girl who worked at the college, and she changed all the elements, and she was really fantastic." And I was like, "Thank you, that was me. I need someone other than me."
That was me.
Yeah. So I got
Yeah,
an electrician, and he was fantastic, and he changed it all over. He spent the whole day with me and showed me how to do stuff, and he was really great. And I'm very, very grateful because now I have a functional kiln again. Awesome.
that's nice.
But I did spend 3 months without a kiln, and that I have to say, shout out to the Crafty Potter Brockville for being my kiln people for a while. Thank
Oh,
you
did
very
you
much,
have to
Heather.
transport work to get fired?
I did. Greenware. Oh, it's
It
awful,
was
but it's
awful.
just downtown, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I never wanted to transport greenware or
Yeah.
any pots, but
I've done it. I used to transport greenware 40 minutes.
Wow. How did stuff not break?
Double box. You double box the Rubbermaid.
Okay.
And stuff did break. You
Okay.
just,
All right.
you ever see that guy on Instagram that has boards of pots in
oh,
the
I
back of
love
his
that
truck?
guy. There's a guy up in northern Michigan, and he drives with boards
I,
just
I
on bricks
I
in
think
his
they're
car, and they just like move.
are they freshly thrown pots? Is that
Yeah.
what they
Yeah. Or like, I think some of them are greenware, but I remember commenting on his thing being like, you are my type of human being. Like, This is exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I think I've
Um,
seen that guy. It stresses me out. Oh man. What if you
well,
hit a
the way
pothole?
that you think about it, if they're on boards and they can move just a little bit,
Yeah, as long as they don't topple and
that
start hitting
board
the other
is
boards.
taking the impact instead of the cup taking the impact. So it's not transferring that impact, you know? If the board is stiff and like if the board is stiff and it hits it, right? And something hits it, it's transferring that impact to the piece and that piece is going to fall off. But if the board is movable, it's going to hit it and it's going to absorb that shock and move with the shock so the pots aren't going to move.
Unless you have to brake fast for a cat or something. And then
But
all of your glue web is behind the front seat.
in northern Michigan, there's not many people up there, so
Okay. Well, that
yeah.
makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's like throwing at a studio and like taking them home or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe he finishes them at the studio where the kilns are or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Wild.
that's pretty cool though.
So, other than the 3 months of shittiness, from your kiln, the main reason that I wanted to talk to you about, well, I like talking to you regularly, but like, um,
You too, Magna.
Ryan's always like, we need to have a reason to have somebody on the podcast, and I agree. But we wanted to talk to you for a very specific reason, and that is because, well, you can explain it, but you are affected by uh,
Disease.
it's a disease, I guess. You have a
Yes.
disease, and
Disease.
and it affects your life, and we kind of wanted to talk to you about that because, well, hopefully, it can encourage people that may be affected by other medical situations, or it just can kind of like shed some light on it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason I do pottery full time is because I have Crohn's disease. I used to do hairdressing for a living, and when I got sick, I had to stop because I can't be sick. Um, for people who don't know, Crohn's disease is an autoimmune disorder. It means that how it was explained to me basically is that my immune system doesn't think that my digestive system is supposed to be there. So it's like attacking it all the time. Um, which is really inconvenient. So for me, for different people, it manifests differently. But for me, it just means that I spend an awful lot of time hanging out close to the bathroom. And that's not conducive to doing most jobs. So for this job, I get to be at home and I get to go to the bathroom or take a nap or eat or not eat or get up at 3 in the morning when I'm awake because some medication gives me insomnia or sleep in the middle of the day because some knocks me out. And I can do that with the freedom of working from home with no schedule.
Yeah. How long have you been diagnosed with Crohn's?
4 years now, about there.
Okay.
I've been dealing with symptoms since March of 2020. If we all
Wow.
remember what
Wow.
was going on at that point in time, that was a pretty stressful time. So I kept working at my full-time job between lockdowns until March or spring, whenever it was, spring of 2021, where we were allowed to go back to work. And I was like, I can't go back to work. My guts are upside down. Can't do it. So I didn't. And I stayed home and I leaned into pottery, and it has been a huge saving grace. We would probably be homeless or living with our parents or something otherwise. So I'm grateful for pottery for sure. Less grateful for my faulty intestines, but very grateful for pottery.
Yeah, and you were saying that some people can have, like, some people have to have surgery and some people don't, and it kind of manifests differently in everybody. And there is medicines that I know that you've been taking, but I don't know if they actually work ever.
They usually do for other people. They haven't been working for me. So the course of action is usually an autoimmune suppressant. So it'll make it so your immune system isn't as active and it'll not attack your digestive system. I guess I just have a super active immune system or something because they haven't been working for me. I've tried like 4 different kinds now. And every once in a while the doctor puts me on steroids. Those are fun. I feel pretty good when I'm on steroids, but you can't stay on steroids forever. They're not good for you. So
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm still hoping to find something, some sort of course of action that'll put me into remission. I've been lucky enough to not require things like surgery where what'll happen is people will need like a resection where there's just like a chunk of digestive system that isn't working anymore and they'll have to cut it out and splice you back together. Or some people need like an ostomy bag where they just bypass the whole bottom end of it and give you like a falsie out your abdomen. So I
Wow.
haven't had any of those, luckily. I hope I never will.
Yeah.
But where I'm at right now is just still in the trying different medication stages.
Yeah. Do you have to like, I'm just curious for me because well, we've talked about it, but I also have tummy problems, to say the least. But do you have to like avoid certain foods? Like, have you noticed that certain foods do certain things that are like worse? Like, I can't eat fruit, but
Yeah. So if any things that have a lot of fiber, which that's usually what people give you as a suggestion if you have tummy problems. They're like, oh, well, you just need to eat more salad and have your whole grains and have a smoothie every day.
yeah,
But my doctor, my specialist has said that it's not food. You can help it with food once you're already into remission to not make it so it gets worse. But while I'm like all flared up, just there's nothing that's really making it better or worse for me.
yeah,
But I do avoid things like okay, like I grow raspberries and I love raspberries, but raspberries have all those delicious little crunchy seeds in them and they probably scratch the whole way through. So I will strain the raspberries. I'll put them in the blender and get all the seeds out of there. That
huh,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm,
So
interesting.
uh, it seems weird because when you have health problems, you think the best thing for you is to eat, as much roughage as possible. But here I am
Yeah,
feeling like I should have white bread and Mr. Noodles and stuff that's like vegetables cooked to the point where they're halfway digested for me, that kind of thing.
right.
that's funny. Well, you have like, I know that you have suggested that there's a chance that I have Crohn's. Um, because I've like spoken about stuff on here, and you're like, Becca, have you considered? And
Case you have here.
but that's funny that like I have always been the type of person that eats more what my body likes. So like when I was growing up, I never drank milk. I never ever drank milk. I've never drank a glass of milk.
Hmm.
I've had chocolate milk
Yeah.
because it's got chocolate and strawberry milk, but never anything like just straight. And my mom's always been like, I'm pretty sure it's because you can't handle dairy, but you're just like, nope, don't like that. But I love cheese, but cheese still fucks me up so hard. And then and then like I always notice that when I eat raw vegetables, I get sick. And fruit, can't eat fruit. And but so I love like really cooked vegetables. I'm like a not crunchy at all type of person. I'm a
Yeah.
soft mush vegetable type of person.
Yeah, I'll
And
even eat like mashed broccoli. It's good.
yeah, oh my God, that would be
My
delicious.
broccoli yesterday was pretty stiff.
It was pretty crunchy.
Yeah.
Um he had dinner yesterday and I had one of his broccoli pieces. It was pretty crunchy.
She had to like almost grind into her mouth because it was so
It was,
dry, and
well, yeah, it like had no flavor. I can't believe you didn't put any salt on
I
there.
put some pepper on there, but not
Yeah.
salt. Yeah.
And yeah, but anyway, like my body has always been like, well, you don't really love that, so we're just gonna not like that.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty
That's
lucky in
where
that
people would do
regard.
better if we just listen to our bodies a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is the Crohn's normally a progressive thing that gets worse, or is it just narrowing in on
What
what
works?
what like inflames it, quote unquote, or aggravates it, or finding the right medicines?
I think it depends on person to person. Some people, when they find, some people can control it with diet. I have not been able to do that. Some people can control it with medicine. I have not been able to do that either. Um, And then they just get into remission and stay there. And then they're fine. They're perfectly functional. They just stay on their medicine, stay on their diet, and they're good to go. And
Yeah.
then there's other people where like a piece of them will stop working and they have to get it cut out. And then they'll end up with things, adhesions in their surgery scars, and they'll have to get those cut out. And before you know it, they're really, really sick.
Yeah.
So, touch wood, I haven't gone that route. I'm still just like maintaining inconvenient level of sick. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Is it partly genetic too?
nobody's been diagnosed with Crohn's disease, but the more I talk about my tummy troubles with all of my family, they're like, "Oh yeah, your uncle's got that, your dad's got that, your mom's got that, everybody's got that." Okay.
Well, I think that it's funny because like our parents' age, because we're all about the same age.
Mhm.
Mr. Aletha's older than us, but right?
Yeah, by
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
We're all about the same age, and our parents, when they were our age, like I know my mom had hardcore depression when I was growing up. Nobody told her to be on the pills. Like they were just like, well, I guess we got to deal with it. This is the American life. Like, and for you, I'm sure, like, this is Canada strong.
Yeah,
Like, and it's
it's
like,
true. It's a generational thing, I'm sure.
yeah, because like if
Yeah.
you had a tummy ache, you'd just be like, oh, I can't eat that. Like,
Yeah, and that's the end of it. But
yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate because you think about how many people didn't get help that they could have needed for whatever illness they had.
yeah,
I know for Crohn's disease, it's only in the last like 20 years that they started viewing it as an immune thing, I guess, or so I've read. I'm not a doctor, I'm no medical professional, but of all people, of all of my medical teams, my dentist is the
yes,
one who explained how my medicine works to me. He used
Oh,
to be a
really?
pharmacist, so when I went in to say like, oh, I'm on this and this, because you have to tell all your medical professionals about things, he was like, let's look this up. I didn't know this was what they did anymore. And since he used to be a pharmacist, he totally geeked out on it, which was amazing. Dr. Mike, if
Yeah.
you're listening, thank you for that information. Um,
Mhm.
but I really was surprised by that because he's been doing dentistry for, I don't know, 20 some years, which in the grand scheme of medicine is not that long, really.
yeah,
But they didn't have this course of medicine when he was still doing pharmacy stuff.
that's
Mm.
crazy.
I know.
How do you think? How do you think? I mean, like, I know that it's affected pottery, but like in a way, I mean, I know that obviously do pottery because of this, but I know that there are also some things that you can't do because of this. And it would be interesting to hear like what not what you wish you could do, but things that you kind of have to like not do, like maybe Mr. Aletha does it for you, and so on and so forth, just because.
Markets. I miss going to markets. I really love them. They're so much fun. They're such a community, beautiful thing, and you get to meet like-minded people and get in-person feedback about your work. It feels like at the end of the school year when your school throws a fun fair. That's what a market feels like to me. You work all month and then you get to go to this fun party with a bunch of makers. And
Yeah.
I can't do that right now. So he goes and does that for me, which is just incredible.
Had you done them in the past 4 years or no?
I have, because my Crohn seems to be progressing. I'm less able to do them this year. And before Christmas last year, I basically was like, you know what, I give up. If you can do it, then go for it, Andrew. But I kind of just stepped aside from that, and I haven't been applying to as many. We've got our fall and winter stacked right up with them, but I signed up for all those things. As you guys know, markets have to be signed up months and months in advance. So I sort of thought I would be better in another 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm not, but whatever. So he so wonderfully said that he would handle it, and he's been great. There are some things that he says that he's not um confident with yet. I mean, he does a fine job, but things like staging the booth, he's like, just the way that his brain works, he's a very utilitarian, pragmatic kind of guy. And so he puts things on the table and they're on the table and it works. right? But I'll go in and I'll like make sure all the handles are the same way and put little pretty groupings together and that kind of stuff. So he says that it's missing that little bit of flair when he does it, but
Hmm.
I think he does a fine job. He does a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Because some of the events not near your home as well. So going together, helping set up, and then leaving is that
Yeah, primarily we do things town away. There's a few events in Brockville, but there's really not a whole lot in Brockville, especially over wintertime. Um, well, I shouldn't say that. There are things, but I just haven't gone to them. There's street events, which are lovely, but where do you go to the bathroom if it's a street event? You
right?
gotta go bug a market person, like a person who has a actual storefront. And for
Right.
me, this might be too much information, but it might be every 20 minutes that I've got to bug someone about that, and that's no
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So, don't we don't do that. I haven't been doing outdoor things. Um, there's one in Kingston that I just adore. It's the Kingston Holiday Market, but that is about an hour away for me. So driving an hour, being in the car for an hour is difficult. Um, but he's fine. He can do it.
Yeah.
So for the setup though, he's just he gets to go a little bit earlier than he would go if the both of us were tackling it at the same time.
Does
And he
he ever
usually
like
sends me a picture.
FaceTime you or anything like that? So you're like, oh, can you like tweak this or tweak that?
Yeah, he always sends me a picture before we start. I say we before he starts. But
You're
um
there. You're just
yeah,
not physically there.
yeah, I'm there in person, in spirit while he's there in person. It's nice.
Yeah.
And he sends me
Um,
pictures of dogs at the market. So I feel like I'm kind of there. And most vendor maps have who's next to you. So I'll like be at home on social media being like, look at our booth neighbors, so and so, even though I'm not there. I'm at home throwing pots or sitting on the couch
it would
watching
be
it.
funny. It would be funny if he like if you guys got like a different phone that you could like set up and just have it always plugged in so that you could just have your face there and you could just be on FaceTime and be like, I can't be there because I'm sick, but like, hi.
A
Sounds
little
like a
bit
little bit of
big
change.
brothery. I like it.
Yeah. Have him bungee cord it to the tent frame. So you're
So
just
I'm just hanging
looming
out.
over.
Oh, from the top.
Yes.
Got my eye on you.
Yes.
It would look like a security camera at that point, like somebody's
Yeah.
watching people get theft.
And then you talk through the security camera. You made a good choice. That's my favorite glaze.
Yes. I have a
I like
story about that one. Wait, come back.
it.
That would be so funny.
Scare
I
people away. Funny though.
yeah. I feel like I feel like even though you guys aren't married, but basically you are, I feel like Andrew is like really taking the whole in sickness and in health part like really seriously and like and
I think so too. I constantly am like, oh, you're such a good person to stick around with all this because so many people would be like, you know what, this is a lot.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
bit
So
much.
I'm so grateful for him for sure.
Can I interject with a funny story that's not so funny but funny at the same time?
I want to hear.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, it's not really about me, but it's the show that I've been watching recently, and it's like garbage TV, like absolute bottom of the trash TV. And it's called Help, I'm Being Kept a Secret.
Oh,
And
oh
Is
dear.
this like a
Okay.
side chick show or something?
no, 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 not really, but it's by MTV and I think it's called Help, I'm Being Kept a Secret. I'll look it up while I'm talking. But it's about people who are in relationships, whether it be like romantic or platonic, that feel like they're being kept a secret for a certain reason or another. And these two people come to the town, and their names are Ronnie and Travis. And Ronnie is like this very, you can tell she's like a very like blunt human being. She's got like short hair and she just has all of the faces for everything that is awkward. Like every single time something's their whole Instagram page is just her face being like, "What?" and like judging people. It is so funny. Um, yeah, it's called Help, I'm in a Secret Relationship. It's on MTV and I watch it on Paramount Plus. And really you only have to watch the first minute and then the last 20, but
The rating on IMDb is at 4.5
it's bad.
out of 10, not out of 5.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
4.5 out of 10. There's 3 seasons and there's everything from my girlfriend is a doll um to like, I spent all of our money because of this to I'm living in my car. There's just all these weird things. Most of them I think are staged, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, one of them was Crohn's. One of them was like this lady was like, "Hey, I've been hiding you because I have Crohn's disease and in past relationships if I told somebody, they'd be like, "Peace, I'm out."
But why would
Yeah.
she be hiding them without telling them that she has Crohn's? You mean she's being hidden because she has Crohn's? Oh,
No, she's hiding herself
oh, hiding.
from him. So like not telling like
Okay, she's
he
just
was
being
like
secretive.
he was like when we're at stores, she'll like dip out for like 20 minutes, like when, stuff like that. And at the end she was like, I have Crohn's and I can't do certain things. And she also had like a degenerative disc and stuff like that where she's gonna have to be in a wheelchair and stuff like that. But um yeah, but anyway, I saw that and I was like, oh, Lisa.
I gotta say, at one point in time, I probably wouldn't have talked about it so freely because I was hoping I'd get better before I got worse. But at this point, yeah, I just talk about it. Whatever. I got
Yeah,
pooper problems. Here I am.
here I am. Well, we've been friends for a long time and I've known for a long time, but it took a while for you to tell me, if I recall.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
Well, yeah, because I mean the not the facade, but like you choose what goes on social media, so you can come like people can have no idea, right? Unless you say
Social
something.
media is such a highlight reel. Oh my
So
goodness.
it's
This is never.
like they think you're always throwing pots, doing online research. They don't know why you are structured that way, or the
yeah,
markets you're doing, or any of
Actually, you
that.
can totally. I mean, you in your social media looks like, other than the odd mention of your full-time job, that you have the same structure as me. You throw pots in your basement, you go to markets, you sell online. Um,
yeah,
so if it wasn't for the fact that we mention it every once in a while, that we have this whole other double life, then no one would know.
yeah. And I mean, like you present, I mean, like you're generally an extremely happy human being, but you present very like is super happy
Positive,
online, like
yeah,
super
very positive
positive.
energy.
And I don't know, I'm positive that you're not all the time. Obviously, you're a human being. So there
Can
is
you
that.
imagine how incredibly upsetting that would be with all of the genuine horror that there is in this world? If you go and you find somebody that you like to watch on social media because of stupid cat cartoons on their pottery or whatever, and all of a sudden they're just like sobbing in the bathroom. Who was that? So no, I don't share that.
Yeah, I mean it's just wild because like we all have real fucking lives, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's
uh,
really easy to forget about that though. And we do, I don't know anybody who doesn't do at least a little bit of comparison and find themselves feeling like they're not living up to all of their peers online because they're like, oh, look how perfect it looks over there. Like,
yeah.
well, yeah, because you saw 5 minutes of their day in little
Even
30-second snips.
yeah, and even if you saw more, like people think that they know me all the time and I'm like, "Bro, no."
Are they more like blunt because they're like blunt with you about stuff? Or they like advice wise or something? And
Yeah,
you're like,
maybe.
I don't know you.
Yeah. Well, and like I think that also I share a lot about like depression and mental health issues that I've had in my past. So I mean, obviously that's real. It's not like I'm lying about that stuff, but you know, um, I'm sure my day looks a lot more active than it actually is, right?
Mine too. Yeah. I don't know
Like,
how many times people are like, oh my gosh, you seem like you're so busy. And I'm like, I had 3 naps today and went to the bathroom 12 times. I
yeah.
wasn't that busy.
Yeah, it's like I woke up at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. I have had some cheese and I
Monumental.
And I started maybe filming myself at 5 p.m. Like,
Yeah.
what happened between 11 and 5? I'll tell you what, sitting under a fan on my bed.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like yesterday, for example, I made those cat grass kits and I did something in the morning that seemed like I did something, but it was canned footage from a couple weeks ago that I made a reel. And I made that reel while I was laying in the grass with Vincent, and I legitimately fell asleep out there because part of part of this whole situation is chronic fatigue. I literally fell asleep in the grass for like an hour yesterday. I woke up because the sun was in my face because it had moved. So that's how busy I am. That's how
Oh,
busy I can be.
I feel that completely.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, goals. I am grateful that I can do that, but yeah, I almost feel like I'm lying to people when they're like, "You're so busy," and I'm like, "I'm really not." But this is as busy as I can be.
Yeah.
I am at my limit. I'm just not that busy.
Yeah. It's funny because I was telling, well, I was telling Rachel today or yesterday, I was like, I don't think people really understand how many reels I watch on the Instawebs. Like, I, because they're like, how do you find these super funny reels? I'm like, I watch reels instead of watching TV. Like, like, I don't think you understand how many reels are going through my brain every day. Like, and when I
Something I
got
wish there
to,
was.
That
I
average.
wish that someday you can have like an automatic scroll for reels, so you
we were
can do that
talking
without
about
having
that.
to touch your phone.
I think, you know what? I think there's got to be a way that you can make it where, like, when you blink really hard, it like moves it.
It's probably coming, I'm sure.
Yeah. It, but then
Microchips in our brain.
we're just gonna turn into fucking potatoes on a couch.
We're gonna
And
be the people from Wally.
yeah, like I'll stop watching reels when because my hands, well, to be fair, the threshold for this is very short, but my hands will start to fall asleep. So and that's like 20 minutes. So I'll like stop watching reels because of that. But yeah, it's anyway, I went to when I started living with Melissa and Eric Beale's house, I like up in the berm. I think Eric is disappointed at how little I actually work. And it's hard to explain to him. It's really hard to explain to anybody. It's like I'm tired all of the time.
Yeah.
And that is not acceptable, you know, to
Well,
the
people are not
majority.
used to that. We have a very strong hustle culture where if you have
Yeah.
5 minutes to yourself, you should have something to show for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's internalized too. Like I definitely feel that. And if at the end of the day I don't have anything to show for it, I am depressed. So
Yeah.
I mean I'm part of that unfortunate problem, but we gotta have a little bit of an overhaul of that because that is not healthy.
It's
There's
really
no
not.
way that we can maintain that forever.
Yeah. I think that you would be like that if I wasn't your friend.
I would be what?
You'd be like hustle culture if I wasn't your friend.
I mean, I still hustle daily,
I know,
but
but you've relaxed a lot since like over the years.
hustle.
Well, like you're more willing to take breaks and you're more willing to like go on vacation and
Yeah. I mean, we always did vacations though with Rachel.
yeah, but you would always, I think that when I first met you, you would always come back from vacation and be like, God, I felt um
Guilty.
guilty for not being in the studio, and that's not there anymore.
Well, I mean, there's still some guilt, but it's just not. It's just like, hey, I realize that this is a positive and
Yeah.
this is helping. It's not, you're looking at it wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you should treat it as a reward for the hard work you've been doing for the last however long, as well as, hey, this is good mentally and it's good like physically to get away and like give your hands a break and all that stuff. Yeah.
And in the
Yeah.
case of your most recent vacation, when you went to, where'd you go, Portugal?
Spain and Portugal. Yeah.
Yeah, there was so much inspiration for your pottery there too that I'm
Yeah.
sure you could even look at that like a work trip.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
you should be looking at everything like a work related thing, but
Yeah.
you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was good. If anything, coming back, I think um well, of course I'm going to come back with like a to-do list, but I think if anything it reinforced that coming back to my full-time job, it wasn't as bad and as like hefty of a hill to climb when I came back as I thought it would be. I thought they'd be like, "Oh my God, we missed you so much. We needed you like the day after you left and all this stuff." And it was just like, "Oh, I just eased back into it. I was fine after like 3 days. It wasn't a big deal."
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, hmm, how much?
There's a realization in knowing that you're replaceable and indispensable. And it's kind of it's a relief for me anyway, because I still, even now, like last week I had somebody asking if I'm still doing hair at home, and I can be like, no, I'm not. But then I know that they're not gonna just not get a haircut for 4 years, right? They're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, and not knowing that like I am not going to ruin their entire life by not being that person for them is
Right.
it's a relief. So if
Yeah,
you
you
need to go
definitely
to
can't be making
Portugal,
decisions for like, oh, I'm gonna let all these people down by
yeah, it
making
makes it feel that
decisions
way,
for
but
myself. Yeah.
you're not. You're your own, you're writing your own book. You're your own main character, so you got to live your own life, and that is
Right.
a monumental thing to be like, oh wow, what a thing to realize. So,
Yeah,
um,
for
I'm so
sure.
glad you went on vacation, and I'm so glad that you continue to do these things. And Becca, I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you like drive around the country and hang out with random people all over the place. It's great.
I still have a lot of, but I do like to drive around the country, but I still have a lot of people pleasing to work on when that driving is happening, you know? I think the other thing is that people,
You mean like people expect you
yeah,
to come see them because they're like, oh, well, you're driving, just stop in.
yeah,
Like it's nothing, but it's definitely a mental drain, I'm sure, to
I did that
be,
last week. That was me. I was like, you're
yeah,
only like 4 hours away from me. I was
right.
joking. I hope you know that.
No, I know that, but I also don't have a passport. I would actually visit you, but I don't have a passport. Um,
I would
I
not expect you to add an extra like 8 hours worth of driving on your trip to loop up here to park on a one-way street surrounded by people. No
yeah,
thanks.
no.
I mean, I would love that, but I would not expect you to do that.
Someday we will wave across the river at each other. Yo, 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 it's me again. I am coming to you live from the van, and I just wanted to talk about Speedball. We know we love them for all the reasons, including how cool their colors are. I am currently looking at all of these tiny, tiny mugs that I just made, and all of them have Speedball underlays on them, and they're freaking awesome, and I love them so very much. They also just came out with 12 new colors, and they're great. And they have their mid-fire line that came out earlier this year. Really, Speedball is just stepping up their game so much, and it's freaking amazing. Also, I also you can get them on Amazon. I think that is cool too. You know, if you need to get them quickly, if you need something quickly, you can just buy it on Amazon, which is wild. You can also get them at other retailers like Clay King and Blick. It's great. I love it. And I love that we get to be sponsored by them because it's an amazing product. And not only that, but they listen to their customers and they support artists. You can also find all of their products at speedballart.com in the ceramics section. Just so you know.
That'd be cool. I have a passport. We'll go and hang out in Ogdensburg or
There you go.
wherever. Yeah.
I have a
bathrooms in reach.
yeah, bathrooms in reach. I had a passport, but it expired. And so all I have to do is re-up it, you know? So, and
Yeah.
I have the fucking things filled out. I filled all the fucking things out in Utah and I just never went and got the photo. That was it. That was
Rachel took her photo at home.
really?
Yeah.
You could do that.
She's renewing her. I think she just renewed, or she's about to renew hers.
Maybe we could do it together.
Yeah,
Oh,
she could probably take it for you.
Yeah. But yeah, but like I was telling somebody today, I was like, there's so many grandmas and grandpas that I've met in the past year that are expecting me to come visit them because this is now just what I do every year. I just go to the same places over and over every single year. And
That shit adds up. Like,
it fucking
yeah.
adds up,
yeah,
man.
your calendar is full if
Yeah,
you're seeing every,
grandpa.
Who are
you
these
know?
grandpas? Who are you talking about?
No, but that's also the problem is they're so lovely. Like all the grandpas are lovely and the grandmas are lovely. Like I want to see them, but also it's like, okay. And then once you're there, you're like, I'm glad I did this, but it was a lot to get here. Like Julianne's parents, I got a text from Julianne like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Hey, Bill wants, or I think your dad's name is Bill. He's like, Bill wants to know when you're coming up so he can make some blueberry pancakes for you. And like, you
That's so
know,
cute.
Yeah,
it's just like a thing. It's like
yeah.
it's expected, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
The social obligations, I'm
Well, yeah,
sure.
it's easy when you don't have to go anywhere and you're just like, hey, when are you gonna come to me
right.
versus
And I'm
when
like,
am I gonna come see you and where are you gonna be at, you know?
right. And I think that also it would be one thing if it was like that, like if I didn't have parents that were like that and family that was like that, like my extended family is all, oh yeah, you come see us. Well,
It's just expected for you to do
once
it.
I left Washington, I haven't talked to a single cousin. I've talked to one of my probably 20 cousins uh since I've left Washington.
Is it
Because
because you're living in a van so you can go places easier?
No, it's because I'm not in their vicinity anymore, so they don't care to reach out.
Oh,
So
no, I
like,
meant like, do they expect you to come to them instead of them going to you because you're
oh
mobile?
yeah, always. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's always. So like, but this isn't about me. Anyway, moving on. Um, yeah, anyway, you have a great
I kind of wonder
family.
if that's a generational thing too, because I remember at one point in time my dad had said that um, people, like parents, expect their kids to come home to visit because
They
that's
Right.
the home
do.
base. Except in my case, like my dad, it's the most romantic story ever. I just love it. He remarried when I was like 20 to his high school sweetheart, which is the sweetest. It's so sweet. And she's lovely and wonderful, but she is in Quebec. She is where they grew up. Um, so it's not going home to me, right? Like I'm not going back to the home base. And he's not like criticizing me for that or anything like that. My dad's wonderful, but he did sort of say like it's a bit of a mental shift. Usually the kids come home to the parents, and that's a normal thing, but that's not home.
Right.
Yeah, my yeah, I mean like my parents moved same city, well, not the same city, but like close, like 10 miles away, maybe 7 miles away.
Mhm.
And um but they only put in one guest bedroom and they have three children. And they
Oh, so
expect
you
us.
have to take turns.
Yeah, and well, thankfully Betsy lives under their house and the mother-in-law, so like with my uncle they take care of each other. They're not together. I should preface that because everybody thinks they're like, oh, are they together? No, they're both disabled and they take care of each other. But
Yeah, one guest bedroom and it's a plenty big enough house from what I've heard.
it's huge. It's a fucking roller rink. And like
You showed pictures. You put a king size bed in the kitchen.
yeah,
Huge.
with all the stuff already still in there. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and so and which is fine. It's completely fine that they only put one guest
Not even
bedroom
a
in there.
pull-out sofa?
But then my mom is like, my mom, yeah, no, it's like the most uncomfortable sofa ever. My mom's like, well, why you have to come home for like all of you have to come home at the same time. And finally, a couple years ago, she was like, I've been doing some thinking, and I realized that when I was your age, we were all married. And when we'd go home, we'd never go home at the same time as the other people in the family because we were married and had kids and none of us are married because we're all socially inept because of my parents. And um and and so she was like, it's not fair for me to be like everybody has to come home. But I mean like we try to do it, like this Christmas all of us are gonna be home. But
You're gonna have to be in hotels and sleeping on floors and stuff or something, huh?
James usually sleeps on an air mattress.
Or yeah, I mean you'll sleep in the van obviously, but
Yeah, I mean,
well,
well,
it depends. It's a Christmas stuff. You can't sleep in the van at that time in
yeah,
Colorado.
because sometimes it's like -10. So that would
That's really
that's chilly.
Mhm.
So I think -10 is actually still -10 in Celsius, something like that, right?
It's below freezing, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's below freezing. But I'm gonna try and get a heater in the van this winter.
Mm.
But yeah, anyway, it's very interesting the expectations that our family set. And like, but they will my mom said for years that she would come out and visit me in like Indiana and all those places. And they never do. And it's not because they don't want to, it's just it never really happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
My dad comes to visit. I'm very lucky. I'm
yeah.
gonna brag about him for a little bit here. He will come back and he'll hang out, and sometimes he even surprises me. The
Your
last
dad
market I
sounds
did go to,
your
pardon?
dad sounds amazing.
He is. My parents, all of my parents, my step parents, my parents-in-law, they're all fantastic people. I'm very lucky.
P.S.
But
Mine are also fantastic people. I don't want to say that I don't like them because I do. I have to put that out there. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Well, I
he
think some of the
came.
family stuff for holidays, you're just expect like, hey, it's expected. We go to this place for this night, Christmas Eve or whatever, and Christmas Day we do this, and we go see
It's a
these people.
tradition.
And then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then once the family grows and people get married and kids start happening, then you got to loosen the reins a little bit. You got to be like, okay, like they can have their own holidays and their own traditions. It doesn't have to become a part of our traditions that we've had because
What's
it's
the fun?
different. So,
We make new stuff. It's a fun time.
That's what's
I have
lovely about it too. Yeah.
yeah.
I have nieces and a nephew in that chunk of the family there where I get to see them all on FaceTime growing up. And it's to the point that they know who I am. I mean, I'm a person on the phone usually, but they can recognize me and be like, "Oh, hi, it's Aleatha." So it's really interesting that we have this technology now that we can still keep up with stuff even when we're in different parts of countries.
Do you find that people follow you on Instagram that are like family and whatnot, so they can keep tabs on like what's going on with you?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget that. Sometimes I feel like I'm making a story specifically just for my people that I know, like my family or you guys, like my friends that I actually talk to. And then I realize like, well, this year I just hit 20,000 followers. That's my entire town. That's so many
Yeah.
people.
That's a
I if
lot.
I saw that many people in one room, I would throw up. My God, that's so many people.
You wouldn't
But
need a bathroom because it would just like you just shit your pants, right?
just close it. But then it's coming out my belly button. I don't know. It'd be terrible. So scary. But yeah, I kind of forget that all those people are there online. And then when I get into a mode of it where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna post this story because I know like my friend Megan will like it, or I know my dad will like it, or whatever. I forget that everyone else will see it too, and somebody else will comment and be like, oh, I saw this thing, and I'll be like, oh, right, yeah, you're there too.
Right.
And it's funny, like I often am so impressed with those people that do only friends stories
The close friends.
on Instagram. Yeah, like the close friend stories where it's green.
Mhm.
And I'm like, who the fuck has enough time to like go through all their people that they want in like closed stories? Also, I'm very honored,
I've
but
done
like
that like once and then I was like and then deciding what to post. I was like, I don't know what I would put in here. But there's a few people that like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like I get why you wouldn't want.
I very rarely use it. If I ever do, it's like usually because I'm complaining about something.
Usually I see it sometimes I see it and I'm like, did you just accidentally hit this button?
yeah, I don't even know how to do that. Talking about I don't want to learn how to do it, but I'm not sure I could do it if I
It's pretty easy.
yeah. But well, even like choosing the close
It's
friends,
just a separate button next to the first one.
like do some people have 500 close friends? Do some people have like
It might be limited on how many you can have
yeah.
in there. I kind of feel like it's
I
like
know some people will
150 or 100. I don't know.
Well, now I feel really honored.
I do feel good every time I see that there's a green bubble. I'm like, ooh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I'm in the close friends.
me too. I feel like
Appreciate
I'm
that.
privy to information that I'm like, oh, I'm in a special club.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
And
use it
then
more
you're more
often
enticed
so
to
I can
push
make other
on
people feel
those
that way.
stories too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And respond to them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've got one friend who her page is so beautifully curated, and I'm on her close friends list, and it's usually stuff like also beautifully curated, but it's like, oh, I wish it was sweater weather. Like just because it's not business related, she puts the more personal things on there.
Maybe
Like,
if I did
oh,
that, I'd have more followers.
If you posted to close friends,
Yeah. Or
but then
like,
only the people who are close friends would know that you've posted anything.
yeah.
I know what I'm saying is like maybe I should do my boring stories to close friends because my stories are a real hit and miss situation.
Oh, you're talking about
Your
limit the
story.
stories you post publicly so that you don't scare people
Oh,
away.
Like the stories of me just like zooming in on Lloyd's like face and then like
keep it up.
clicking.
Keep that stuff up. Everybody loves it.
Yeah. I feel like I post less of the cats recently, and I'm like, are people
Noted.
missing the cats sometimes
I
because I
miss the
don't
cats.
post about them?
I miss the cats. More
Aletha's always in the
Marbles
cat.
content, more Autumn content.
Yeah.
Your cats seem to be the most docile, most like lovable creatures on the planet.
Mine?
Yeah.
Vincent?
Uh, it's because it's hard to film when he's leaping on top of my shoulders.
But that's what I mean. Like they seem to be like all over you all the time.
I make them. Can't escape. You're here forever. If you're not watching on the screen, I'm completely mauling my cat Vincent right now.
Yeah, she's got her hands all over him. And it might be considered assault.
He loves it. He's here
No, he
for it.
does. He seems like he's actually having the best of time.
I have a
I'm very lucky
question.
with my cats. They are very good cats. I know that there are some that will hide from you all the time or
Cat
scratch you
butt.
when you walk by, but mine are great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cat butt.
Cat butt.
Yeah, there's so much cat butt happening though. Yeah.
I have a question. So this is business related. There's some business ones I wrote in here. Um, so these days, I know you said you were talking about events are kind of few and far between these days. So I'm guessing that means you rely heavily on online restocks for most of the business on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
I've been doing probably like a monthly Etsy restock this year, which has been a lot of fun. And I do those little countdowns on Instagram where people can get a notification for them. And he's relentless. He's all over the place.
He is in
Uh,
there.
but yeah, it's been mostly on Etsy that I've been relying on.
Are
Andrew's gone
you
to three
are
shows, I
you
think, this time.
are you like setting goals for yourself for the restock? Because I was looking on your Etsy now, like you've got a good mixture of things in there. Do you do you kind of set yourself of like I want to try to focus on these things for this month, or are you looking at what sold previously and gauging it for that, or how do you kind of approach that?
I mostly look at what's sold previously and I go that way. I also have um suggestions from other people, like you should make this, you should make that. Are you filming me right now with
Yeah.
the camera?
I'm actually not filming you. I'm filming Vincent. Okay, we are ending there today, but we will be back next week with the second half of Aletha's episode. And she started to ask us questions. But so you never know. It might be really great, might be not great. You're not going to know until next week. So, P.S., it's pretty great. Okay, bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.